A bit of a different video for us today as we discuss Memorial Day with our Grand Executive Director of the Scottish Rite, Admiral William G. Sizemore, 33rd degree Grand Cross. Welcome to the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry channel, everybody. I am Maynard Edwards, 32nd degree KCCH, a Scottish Rite Freemason, your host here on the channel. Please take a second, subscribe to our channel, give us that thumbs up, and by all means, share this video. And if you've got a comment or you're a Brother Mason, Scottish Rite Mason, York Rite Mason, Shriner, what have you, drop it in the comments below. We love to hear from anyone and everyone with questions about Freemasonry, greetings, all those things. Comments below, or email me, podcast@scottishrite.org. This video is going to be a different kind of video as we discuss something a little bit more somber, a little bit more serious with our Grand Executive Director, Admiral Bill Sizemore, 33rd degree Grand Cross. Now, if you were to think of the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite as a corporation, Admiral Sizemore would be the COO. He handles all the day-to-day operations of things inside the House of the Temple, making sure all the things kind of get where they're supposed to go, and all the little mechanisms that are moving within inside the temple and all the various departments are chugging along the way that they should. And he is a retired admiral in the Navy. He was a fighter pilot. He was actually a Top Gun fighter pilot. No, not the movie, the real Top Gun Naval Flight Weapons Training School. And he's just a wonderful guy to work with and work for. Recently, the Grand Lodge of Florida asked Admiral Sizemore to come down and speak to them on the occasion of their annual communication. This is where they elect new officers and all those kinds of things. And he said, well, sure, what should I talk about? Well, it ended up coinciding with Memorial Day 2022. So when Admiral Sizemore was working on his speech and we were talking about it back and forth on Zoom and in meetings, I said, hey, this is such a great story. Would you mind if we share this with our YouTube audience and our podcast audience? And he said, well, yeah, but check it out with the Grand Lodge of Florida first. So I did ask permission of the Grand Lodge of Florida that if after their meeting had concluded and after Admiral Bill had given his speech, if they wouldn't mind if I could use a portion of the rehearsals that we taped to share with the audience. I have to say special thank you to the Grand Master of Florida, the past Grand Masters of Florida, the Grand Secretary, the whole Grand Lodge team there in Florida who made it possible for me to do this. They said, yeah, please share this. It's too good not to share. So thank you to the Grand Lodge of Florida and the Grand Master and Grand Secretary. It's really kind of you guys to share this and allow us to share this on the YouTube channel. So without further ado, Admiral Bill Sizemore had a great talk about Memorial Day, what it means to him, not only as a veteran, but for someone who has a family member that he thinks of on Memorial Day, and that family member who it really seems like is one of the folks who inspired him not only to join the Navy, but also to become a Mason. So here he is, Admiral Bill Sizemore, talking about some of the meaning behind Memorial Day.
Being here and seeing you all reminds me how incredibly fortunate I am to be a member of this great fraternity. When most worshipful and illustrious Brother Rick Hoover asked me to speak at this Grand Lodge session, I asked him, why in the world would you want to do that? And what in the world would I talk about that would be of any interest to this august group? Well, he shot back right at me. His reply to say was talking about Memorial Day, which we all know is today, and what it means to me, which I'm very honored to do. I'm also going to follow the adage my dad taught me a long time ago, which is there's no such thing as a bad short speech. And speaking of my dad, there he is in his A1 Skyraider during the first of two combat deployments to Korea during the Korean War. And Dad and I were talking just the other day, and he told me he was a keynote speaker at the Grand Lodge session in 1979. It was in Miami, and I'm just wondering if any of you all were at that session. Well, I'm going to start today with a brief history of Memorial Day, which is observed on the last Monday of May to honor the men and women who died in training or in combat while serving in the U.S. military. Originally known as Decoration Day, it originated following the Civil War which claimed more lives than any other conflict in the history of our country and required establishment of national cemeteries. In 1868, General John Logan, who was a Mason, called for a day of remembrance, and May 30th was chosen because it wasn't the anniversary of any particular battle, and therefore could be a day of remembrance and healing for the entire country. Decoration Day began with citizens decorating the graves of those who died in the Civil War. And when I told my dad what I was talking about today, he told me about a decoration parade in his hometown in 1940. He was a 14-year-old Boy Scout at the time, and he had the honor of carrying the American flag in the parade. He said there was actually a Civil War veteran in that parade, a man who had been a drummer boy in the war. Well, Decoration Day was officially recognized in every state and gradually became known as Memorial Day to honor all American military personnel who died in all wars. In 1971, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, establishing Memorial Day as a national holiday to be observed on the last Monday in May. And so here we are. So, what does Memorial Day mean to me? Well, most worshipful and illustrious Brother Hoover didn't know this, but Memorial Day is very important and a very special day to me. And it took on this significance a long time ago, well before I joined the Navy in 1976. I grew up in a military community during the Vietnam War. And when I was 7 years old, my next door neighbor and my best friend's dad was killed in a plane crash while he was training for the war. He was a very nice man, maybe 35 years old. One day he was there, the next day he was gone. And my best friend's life changed forever. And he and his mom moved away a short time later. I watched several other friends that I went to school or Sunday school with go through the same routine over the next several years. Then when I was 11, my dad's brother and my uncle, Major James Sizemore, United States Air Force, was shot down and killed over Laos during the Vietnam War. My uncles and my family have been very close, and I greatly looked up to my uncle. He is a man of character and integrity. He was humble, funny, extremely smart and talented. And he was a great dad who my cousins adored. He was also a Mason. He was 40 years old with half a lifetime ahead of him. And one day he was there, and the next day he was gone forever. My aunt and cousins' lives were shattered, and in some ways they've never recovered. What we found out about Uncle Jim was a memory that I'll never forget. My dad was away on an extended deployment on the then brand new USS John F. Kennedy. And it was a hot and sunny afternoon around 5 p.m. And I was watching TV with my brother in the family room. My mom was making dinner in the kitchen when a black sedan drove up in front of our house and two men in uniform got out. I'd seen that before, and I was pretty sure I knew what that meant. My mom came over to see what I was looking at and calmly said, "Your father's been killed. Take your brother to your room. I'll tell you when you can come out." I did as I was told and sat on the edge of my bed while my brother played with my models. I didn't know what to say or think, and I just tried to make some sense out of what was going on. Not much time passed before my mother came in and told me that it was Uncle Jim who had been shot down and not my dad. Uncle Jim was missing in action at that time, so there was hope that day. That was 54 years ago, and it's still crystal clear in my mind. Uncle Jim's status was changed to killed in action a few weeks later, but it wasn't until September 2013 that he came home to rest in Arlington National Cemetery. Memorial Day took on a special significance with me after that, much more so than the 4th of July, which had previously been my favorite holiday. Memorial Day was no longer the day, or no longer the long weekend just before school got out and when the community pool opened. For me, it became the day to remember and reflect on Uncle Jim and all the other heroes I knew and had known. Heroes who risked everything for their country and ended up making the ultimate sacrifice so that I could live in freedom in the greatest country the world has ever known, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Memorial Day also became a day to reconnect with my cousins and thank them for their sacrifice, their loss of their dad, at an early age so that I can enjoy the many blessings that come from living in this country. This experience also taught me at an early age that freedom isn't free, long before it became a popular phrase. It was also the catalyst that set me on a path of a lifetime of service to my nation and community wherever I lived. After I joined the Navy and through the years, Memorial Day has become the day for me to remember and reflect on my friends and former colleagues who risk everything for the country and ended up making the ultimate sacrifice in the prime of their lives so my family and I could live in freedom. I also remember and reflect on their families who were ever changed by their sacrifice. Our country's beginning and its continued existence for the past 247 years, this great experiment was made possible by men and women who risk everything for the country and ended up making the ultimate sacrifice so that their fellow Americans enjoy the right to freely pursue and achieve their dreams up to the limits of their God-given talents. We owe everything we have to these heroes, and Memorial Day is the official day of the year to honor and remember them. It's also a day to remember and honor the devastated and forever changed families that those heroes left behind. Heartbroken parents, grandparents, spouses, brothers, sisters, and children who also sacrificed dearly for our freedom. While not the official intent of Memorial Day, I also think it's the day to remember and honor our brave and selfless first responders who risk everything for their communities and made the ultimate sacrifice so others were protected and could live their lives in safety and with security. I'm guessing that each of you knows someone or have a friend or relative who knows someone or of someone who risked everything for their country or community and made the ultimate sacrifice. Memorial Day is a day for you to remember and honor them, their service, their sacrifice, as well as the nameless others who since 1775 risk everything for the country. In the end, made the ultimate sacrifice so our country could endure and thrive.
That's Admiral Bill Sizemore, 33rd degree Grand Cross, our Grand Executive Director at the House of the Temple in Washington, D.C., sharing his thoughts on Memorial Day. Don't lose that message. If you have a moment, whether you're watching this on Memorial Day or some other time entirely, please take a moment and think about those who made that ultimate sacrifice. Once again, thank you to the Grand Lodge of Florida for making this happen, the Grand Master of Florida, the Grand Secretary of Florida for allowing us to steal a little of their thunder, if you will, and especially thanks to Admiral Sizemore for sharing such a powerful story with us. I'm Maynard Edwards, 32nd degree KCCH, Scottish Rite Freemason. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below.